Is there another drink anywhere? Because I'm kind of weird. I've had one drink and I've kind of got a buzz, and I kind of like where I'm at.
You want to maintain?
I do. I think I'll be pretty good with it.
I stole some rum from Ryan upstairs. This is rum on the rocks with a little bit of sweet lime.
Kind of like, if I can keep where I am, I'm going to be a good time. Yeah.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast, your bi-weekly podcast that delivers an episode-by-episode breakdown of the original G1 series. This is our episode 139, and today we're going to be covering episode number 33 of the Transformers G1 world. That is Auto Berserk, which aired October 16th, 1985. This is your host, Aaron, and also with me are Caleb.
Hi.
And Ryan.
Hi.
Intro schmintro to dust off a classic 5-year-old meme. Ain't nobody got time for that, because today we have a full action-packed package of content for you and a hard 2 hours to record it. Today, joining us, friend of the show, the beef is over. The rap battle has been settled. We're back together. Jay-Z, Nas, Mike Seibert, Autopod Decepticast. It's been a while, perhaps too long, but welcome back to the show.
Been a while since I recorded with APDC, and it's been a while. I forgot my prompt. I was just supposed to say hi. Hi.
For those who don't know, it's a great show, the Mike Seibert show. It's about a lot.
The Mike Seibert show.
His show's about a lot of stuff. It's about many things. It's about good choices. But nowadays, it's really 80% about Transformers.
It kind of seems that way, doesn't it? And in recent weeks, Transformers toys specifically.
Yeah.
I've been kind of going this weird collector phase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talk about, you've been doing Mondays Live.
Yeah, it's the after hours live stream, and it started about a month or so ago on the 5th anniversary of my show. Once upon a time, I used to do a Monday night college radio show. That was kind of the beginning of Mike Seibert Radio, and out of nowhere, I really honestly wasn't planning it. I just kind of wanted to figure out how to commemorate the occasion. I was like, well, it is a Monday night. I have been using in the time of the Rona, I've been doing a lot of Zoom interviews and have really kind of been doing a lot of video content and a lot of live stream content. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it live. I channeled Bill O'Reilly there. I was like, I'll write it and I'll do it live. And that's exactly what I did. So, and I was thinking I was going to do like, I don't know, a half hour, 45 minutes, just kind of talk about, the history of the show, where I was, where I am, and where I'm going. Talk for 3 hours.
Anyone who knows you, Mike, knows that brevity is your bread and butter. You're short and sweet. It's never lengthy.
But it's all still compelling.
I agree.
I don't know why you got to give him a hard time, Ryan.
Because I'm an asshole.
Yes. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's so funny because on these live streams, I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to try to keep this one short. And I could feel everybody's eyes rolling as they're watching on the chat. But really what it was is I kind of wanted to recapture that feeling of being live without a net like I used to when I started 5 years ago. And I love podcasting. I love recording and production and all of, editing, all of the elements that go into it. But there is something visceral and satisfying and quite frankly scary about just hitting a button, seeing that little red button that says live, and it's just you and your headphones, and it's
there's a little risk.
There is definite risk, and in fact, if you go back and watch my videos, they are certainly not flawless. There are times when I lose my train of thought. There are times that I get distracted. Especially, I still haven't quite figured out, and this is new from when I was doing radio back in the day. I use a platform called Restream, and it lets me push to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all simultaneously. And it's a free platform too. It's super cool, but it also collates the chat. So like as folks are commenting on all three of those platforms, it's very similar to Twitch in that like you'll see all of the comments on the side, and I'm easily distracted, especially if there's like a good question or if there's something compelling. I'll just be like, yeah, and then I just don't know why Scourge is going to be in Studio Series, but Cyclonus is in Kingdom, and I'll just like I'm having an aneurysm or something. I'll just stop and stare at the screen. I'm like, that's a really good point, Dave Cabal. I didn't think of it that way. And so then I have to kind of backtrack and kind of, read things out loud.
Or if it's a question I ask, you'll read it and you'll say, Aaron, Autopod Decepticast asks, I don't understand your question, Aaron. And I'm just going to move on.
There's been a lot of that too. Well, and that's the thing too, because like sometimes it's folks, you guys are commenting within each other. Like, Apollo will jump on, Dave Cabal will jump on, Aaron, you'll jump on, my buddy Nick will jump on, and I see
Pizza Toss and Mike on there as well.
Oh, that's right.
On the
that's
Facebook
right.
feed anyway.
So it's hopping. And it was a thing where, shoot, I've even had family jump on, not really participating in the chat, but I've had like coworkers and family, and it was something that I wasn't expecting to do anything with, but I've accidentally discovered that there's kind of an audience for it.
Sure.
So basically what I do is when I clock off work on Monday nights, I, reassemble my laptop, and I got my own microphone, and yeah, I just do like an hour or so of just kind of like ask me anything, and or showing off my toys. Like, hey, I got this deluxe Snake Eyes and it's fucking rad. And
right.
So yeah, it's been interesting. I'm currently in a creative struggle where I'm trying to figure out, am I favoring the live stream stuff over the traditional interview podcast stuff I used to do? Because one thing over 5 years of Mike Seibert Radio is that I am consistently inconsistent in what I'm doing creatively. I'm always just kind of like, oh, maybe I'll do this for a while. Maybe I'll do that for a while. Unlike almost all of my podcast friends, I haven't settled on like any one thing. So Mike Seibert Radio has never been any one thing.
Well, luckily, it's your privilege to do that and experiment and have fun and keep your interest level high. In terms of Transformers, do you mind to talk real quick about sort of some of the guests you've had on lately, some of the things you've been doing in that world? I know you've had artists, both official and fan, and it feels like you've just had a lot of activity in the Transformers space.
Well, most recently, as I said, I've just kind of been talking about toys. Like, as anybody that knows me knows, I am super hot about the 1986 movie. That's how I got connected with you guys, which led to me being connected with other folks here in the community. So it really is kind of like ground zero for a lot of this stuff, especially the things that we do. Now, since it's something that's been very much on my mind, more than anything, I just want Transformers toys that say the Transformers the movie on them. Mm-hmm. And it looks like I just ordered that Quintesson Pit of Judgment set that has it on the back of
the logo.
Yeah. It has it on the art, and then these upcoming Studio Series figures are going to have that as well. So I've been legislating a lot of that recently. That's what the majority of my Transformers content has been. I mentioned
well, I mean, even in terms of your interviews and
yeah, no, I was getting there. Again, as Ryan said, brevity is my strongest suit. I've had Apollo on the show, Transformers fan artist Robo Apollo, and I'm actually kind of part of a small group of fans that are working on a online fan convention that I don't know how much has been formally announced, so I don't know how much to actually say here. But I've just been kind of talking to fans recently. You know, I've had a Dave Cabal on recently. We talked a lot of G.I. Joe. The panels that we did for Cybfest Northwest over the summer, those are up as podcast episodes. I talked to an artist named Stan Cho. He goes by Artist Stan on all of the social platforms, and he's been doing digital art live streams, things like that. My interview with Flint Dilley for his book, The Games Master. If you can't tell, I'm literally just scrolling back through my feed and trying to figure out who I've been talking to lately. But coming up, I am chatting with nerdcore rapper Word Burglar from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and it's not necessarily a Transformers project, but he's putting out a vinyl edition of his album Welcome to Cobra Island. So I know it's interesting, the Venn diagram of Transformers fans and G.I. Joe fans. Well, and so to pivot from that, I was recently it's not my show, but I was a guest on a podcast called Have Not Seen This. It's hosted by a dude named Rafe Telsch. And a couple weeks ago, I was a guest on his show to talk about, you guessed it, Transformers the movie. Now, he hadn't seen Transformers the movie before. He wasn't a Transformers kid growing up. He was into He-Man and Thundercats and G.I. Joe. And we actually spent like the first third of the episode just talking about G.I. Joe, you know, like the toys and the lore and things like that. And the reason why I bring this up is because in his circle of friends, he lives in Vermont, I believe, and he and all of his friends kind of viewed Joe and Transformers as incongruous. Like there was no overlap. You were either a G.I. Joe fan or you were a Transformers fan. And I had never heard of that partisan divide before. Yeah, I'm with you, Caleb. It's just like, it kind of blew my mind. So we actually kind of like spent some time unpacking that and talking about that because, you know, as we know from going through the Transformers episodes and the movies, that there are a lot of crossover episodes in terms of like personnel, folks that worked on and they were simultaneous production. So there's gonna be
I'm trying to imagine that from just a bare bones afternoon watching perspective. If I get out of when I get out of school, I'm watching whatever's on the station, and it was always Transformers, G.I. Joe, and maybe something else. Sure. I don't know why. I don't know. It would be weird for me to like watch one and then from a partisan standpoint intentionally not watch the other.
What are you going to do? Change over to the afternoon
There's
news?
nothing else on.
You got one station that's doing cartoons for you.
I don't know how old these guys are, but maybe you already said it, but like there was no
same age.
Yeah, there was no other option, so you would watch both. And so I don't know how that – I'd be very curious to know how that partisanship developed. The only way I could see it would be at a very micro level where there's some kids on the block that are like, Transformers rule and G.I. Joe drools, and then it was, you know, then there's just some, I wouldn't call it immature, but some, you know, run-of-the-mill children rivalry where we're into G.I. Joe, and then like, well, we're into Transformers, and then it goes from there.
Stick 'em!
And the other piece of it is, I feel like my experience is, like, we or at least Ryan and I really connected to Transformers. Caleb, you modestly connected to Transformers.
Yeah,
you probably represented the mainstream, and most people, there were cartoons on, but you watched them, you liked them. And
I never shit on one or the other. Right. Yeah, and I certainly wasn't going to.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
I remember
My Little
shitting
Pony and glowworms.
I remember shitting on G.I. Joe.
Yeah, but
no, really?
but that being said, like I'd be really curious to know how that developed in their local culture, for lack of a better word. So, okay.
Well, I don't know, Caleb. I think you would have to catch that episode of the Have Not Seen This podcast hosted by Rafe Tell.
Perfect plug.
Very good.
Episode. As of this recording, it has not been published. But by the time this episode airs, that episode should be out. So I don't have an episode number.
10/25/20 is
that's
when this is airing.
That's fascinating. Okay, cool. Thanks. No,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Hi.
Can't wait till we get to plugs later. Mike, we are excited to have you back on, excited to dive into this episode with you. This is the part of the episode where, Jet, why don't you whip us up a little something that's going to do some damage to our logic circuits?
Oh.
What do we got going on?
Oh, yeah, Ryan.
Okay, like with this, the leaves are falling, pumpkins are littered about the place. Birds are flying south in chevron formations. And again, Halloween is canceled this year for the United States. Boo. Which really bums me out. I even grew jack-o'-lanterns this year, which was in last week's or last episode's cocktail picture. I grew.
It doesn't have to be canceled. You can.
I was going to say, Ryan, does that mean your birthday is canceled then?
Yeah, I'll be 42 for another year.
Wait a minute, Ryan. Your birthday is on Halloween?
It's good theater of their mind there. I don't know where you're going with that.
You're invited to our house, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sad. Anyway, so I made up a drink. This was inspired by a super basic, like supposedly Halloween recipe that I found in one of those terrible, like 20 slide web pages where it has a bunch of cocktails that are stupid.
He's so mad.
He's talking about this as if this is something we relate to.
You don't know about those slideshow of like.
I like how it's something we don't relate to, and then he just immediately says, "You don't know."
No,
Yeah, exactly.
no. You know, like whenever you like search for a recipe, and then you click into a stupid web page.
Yeah,
you have to go through 20 different slides to see each recipe.
Yes, I agree.
Aaron's just not listening to me.
I know exactly what Ryan's talking about. Or ones that say, "Oh, after the jump."
Yeah.
The jump?
My version of that is, here's why Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner aren't together anymore.
That's what you're looking up?
Oh, yeah.
Number 6 will surprise you.
Yes. Nobody believes number 12. So, as we all four are Gen X males, we were contractually obligated to watch The Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
So this drink that we have here, I don't know if you definitely remember, but like there was a period of like 2 to 3 years where all I drank was White Russians.
Yeah,
same.
Those were your fat years.
Yeah, it's weird.
I wonder why.
What's the correlation?
Big boy years.
And let me tell you,
That's
when you've had 12 White Russians in one night, your shit is gonna be weird.
Yeah, and you
you
let people set you on fire.
That was
post.
That was rum and pineapple years.
Oh, okay.
Also, not a calorie deficit year.
No. Also, yeah.
So yeah, I was like, he was still fat during that.
I just had diarrhea for about 12 years. So I am lucky being a Caucasian male. I can consume milk products. So
and his birthday's on Halloween.
I'm not lactose intolerant, is what I'm saying.
Well, my wife sure is. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, my girlfriend is as well.
Yeah, she's black.
Yes.
So wait, African Americans are more likely to be lactose intolerant,
and Asians.
Oh. I knew Asians, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Europeans mostly who drink a lot of cow product and eat cheese.
I still don't know that. I think we all might have a level of lactose intolerance. If we cut it out, we would probably be surprised how much better we feel.
I'm sure.
That sweet cream be looking good.
Are you a pirate?
Yes.
It's a cream pirate.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is the APDC Pun'kin Spice Slavic Caucasian.
Okay.
So, Ryan, you want to shake me some of that shit? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
This is, so I made a drink that it has a rim around it. I used honey around the rim and then crushed ginger snap cookies as like the rim around the glass.
It's so good.
It's 1.5 ounces or 45 milliliters coffee liqueur Kahlua. 1.5 ounces vodka, 1 ounce Benedictine, which is like an herb, like sweet licorice liqueur, 2 to 3 drops of orange bitters, 1 ounce of heavy cream, and then I just built it in the glass and then did some pumpkin spice on the top of it.
So good. It's really good. It's like a
Here we
good
go. I
dessert.
guess let's cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Ding.
It's a good dessert.
Cheers on the screen.
Yep. There you go. I'm in a little chalet right now.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Up on a mountain.
I hadn't tried
Wow.
this
This will be
yet.
good.
You did
warm,
good.
too.
Yeah. I'm like I'm all cozy next to a fire right now, getting wasted.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this beverage. That honey sets it off.
Yeah.
That's a nice.
I did a good job.
You did. This you made this up.
I did. I mean, it's just a zhuzhed-up White Russian.
I mean,
basically.
if you are going to
Start
continue
drinking
to
White Russians
deviate from the jigger and beaker and glass, I've got no problems with that.
Yeah, no kidding.
You can.
I also I have a spelling litigation I want to bring before the court.
Okay.
So as we already revealed, Ryan reached out to me, but yeah, he just said it was like a zhuzhed-up White Russian, basically. And I want to share with the group the spelling,
It's
because I've
bizarre.
always wondered.
Of
I was
zhuzh?
wondering how one would spell zhuzhed. Ryan took a crack at it, and it's ZHUZHED.
I Googled it.
Zhuzh.
Is that correct?
That's what I found.
Okay.
Holy shit! I didn't bother to do that. I just wanted
What
to
is
give you a hard time.
what's the is it pure Yiddish?
I
or
believe it's Yiddish, yes.
Yiddish. Okay.
It's like one of those words that doesn't look like you can pronounce it at all.
Right. It's a phonetic.
I have to use the word zhuzhed. I can't use the word amped up or premium or it's got to be zhuzhed.
You're adversarial this episode.
Yeah.
What?
On
Coming at me.
on the other hand, I understand where you're coming from. Come on, guys. That was a Fiddler on the Roof reference.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Tevier.
God.
I haven't seen that. It was a high school play of ours.
You've never seen Fiddler on the Roof?
I saw it as a high school play. We had
Right.
Jason Grimm.
Jason
was,
Grimm.
was
That's true.
Tevye.
Shout out to Jason Grimm.
He did a good
Hey,
job.
how you doing, bro?
He did a-
Haven't seen you in
he did a
15
good job.
years. How long? 20 years.
30.
Yeah.
Well, we graduated. Yeah, at least 12. I'm going to say 20. Well, nope, 20. Probably closer to 25. Okay, we don't need to litigate that. Shout out
High school math.
to longtime friend of the show, Johnny Utah, who, as of at least a few weeks ago, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he dedicated himself to re-listening to the original.
He hasn't mentioned it in a while.
86 plus episode G1 run that we did,
On his mail route.
and
I hope he's a mailman because otherwise he's Ted Kaczynski.
he's just
Well,
following.
he does spell, when he says mail route, it is
M-A-L-E.
M-A-L-E.
He'll enjoy that.
Yeah, that's the kind of humor he's into. And so,
Postal humor. The best.
Homonyms.
Johnny, so thank you for dedicating yourself to that. And if you've given up, I understand.
Totally get it.
No hard feelings.
I haven't.
I felt so bad because like he got a couple episodes in and he starts throwing out some trivia questions and tagged a whole bunch of us, all of you guys and me and maybe some other folks. So I'm like, I know the answer to that. Taka. And I'm like, oh, I've ruined it for everybody. I had no idea.
Oh, you're fine.
For the three people who give a
Yeah,
shit.
you're good. You're good.
Caleb.
Yes.
Now, in the past, we have played a few games.
Yes, sir.
Such as how do you pronounce this Australian word?
Yes,
Dinosaur trivia.
Yes, sir.
Porn or cartoon short. Is this music?
Don't forget voice actor trivia, our big
Voice
one at our
actor
live
trivia at
events at
TFCons,
TFCon.
yes. And I feel like maybe you've developed a new game. Is this music part 2 or is it something new
I
entirely?
like how you feel this, but you know what? Your intuition is correct,
Ooh,
sir.
Okay.
So we at first it was like we wanted to, we were talking about doing maybe an "Is This Music" segment. Mike is here. Mike is a big aficionado of music as well, but I decided to segue into something else. It's not exactly going to be an "Is This Music" necessarily.
Okay.
Man.
It is music,
Game over.
but
Fucking spoilers.
but this is going to be Mike is a guy of he's a radio guy. He has lots of experience with radio and
Transistors.
Giant light bulbs that are weirdly shaped.
he's a walking Tesla. All right. So anyway,
Hey, I'm radioactive.
So I decided to put together a quick segment for us of news sounders trivia. And Mike, you know what sounders are, correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
Can you tell the audience what news sounders are?
Well, basically what a sounder is kind of like a quick audio hit identifying what you're listening to. So it'd be like, this is ABC News.
Right, and then and then cue the music. So there's a history of music sounders. You would instantly recognize some of it if you heard it, based on like if you were like an ABC follower or a CBS follower. To our younger audience, again, I tell our younger audience because I just don't know if they know or not. Growing up, you know, in the 80s and even the 90s, there was, especially the 80s, there was like 3 to 5 stations. And each was a new. You listen to the news every night, and they would have a certain type of news sounder, not only for that news show, but also for the particular segments that they had. Mm-hmm. They still do that.
And I would say morning radio DJs have that kind of thing.
That's right.
I would argue that Ghost of the Iconic Moment, Script Deviations, are those sounders?
Absolutely.
Yes, those are sounders. So what I'm going to do though specifically is you guys are going to have to get some pen and paper really quick, and you're going to have to, because I'm going to list 5 sounders. You're going to listen to them, and you're going to have to guess the theme of that sounder it's for a particular news show. I'm going to run through those 5 once. I'm going to tell you the topics. The themes for those, you're going to write down when you hear them which topic you think it is. I'll run through it a second time so that you can kind of reevaluate. Okay. All right. So
maybe even after one.
All right, Aaron, I'll do my best.
This is a Transformers podcast where we talk about an episode of the Transformers, right?
Yeah, eventually.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So, sorry.
No.
Great idea.
I'm excited.
Why are you apologizing? We're doing this.
All right. So quickly write these down. Here's your 5 themes.
Okay.
Evening news. Weather, sports, lunchtime,
what?
And election.
Oh God!
All right. I will put these in order. I'm gonna play these 5, and then you're gonna guess which one's which. So I'm gonna get I got my phone up next to the microphone here. Here is your first one to go. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
That's a tough one.
Okay.
There's your first one.
2. I think that's possible too.
And,
too.
And please notice the funny thing about this is like you'll hear that dun 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 dun.
Oh, that's in all of them.
That's in all of them. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's just how they portray it. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, it's called a logo. It's like, you know, so like I put together a podcast for work with very similar things. It's like they'll have like an entertainment theme, an election theme, a weather theme, but it all still have do. Yeah, it'll have that signature tone.
Here's the next one. Number 2.
Yeah, these are gonna get tricky.
Oh.
Get it, son.
That's spicy.
All right, that was the second one.
Okay. I'm just going to go with my first instinct on all these.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
This is weirdly too close to home, man.
I know, right? This is why I'm doing it. This one's kind of, I think this one's a gimme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Mike knows what's up.
Now I'm second. That makes me second guess the last one.
Okay. That's a good one.
All right.
Number 4.
Number 4's coming up right now. Let's see here.
I'm going to be wrong on all these.
I'm feeling that way too.
And that's just a turn too.
Interesting.
Okay, I do want the next round. I do want to
calling
hear
an
it one
auto.
more time.
I'm calling.
You were
okay.
like,
All
oh,
right.
maybe we don't do it.
Wow.
I just don't think we need a third round.
All right,
Okay, what?
Here's
Last
the fifth one. This is another gimme, in my opinion.
Uh-oh.
These are
Just having a salad made of spinach. Hey, where's the vinaigrette? Oh, it's over there in the refrigerator. Open it up and pour it up lightly. Gotta control your calories and
now
do it
we
right. Put a
need
little
an
bit of salt
album
and pepper on
of
it.
Aaron's eating craps.
It's called Aaron Talks Over the Segment.
All right.
Okay.
I'm fine with what I've got.
You-
Anyway.
Better him than me.
Does anybody want me to run back through any of them?
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm good.
Ryan's locked in. Mike, are you locked in? If you're both locked in, I'm good.
I want to hear number 2 one more time.
Sure, yeah. Number 2, they're tricky. Here's number 2. Here's number
100%
2.
I'm wrong on all these. This also could be a porn.
Everything to you is a porn.
Could I hear number one more time?
Oh man.
Number 1, that's a gimme in my
Two
opinion.
biker
I think
chicks scissoring.
Here we go.
You know what? Forget it. Don't worry about it.
here's
No,
number-
let's just
here's
rock
number
it.
one.
Let's
Here's
just
number
rock it.
I changed mine.
I'm fine. We're good. We're good.
I'm
Move
still
it
wrong
forward.
on all these. Okay.
All right, so if I can figure out how to stop my phone. Mike, anything? Are you good? You well?
I'm good. All
right. So,
let's do it to it.
all right. Number.
Do you want us to say what it is? Go around, like each of us say what
Yeah.
we
All
put?
right. So, what do you
Mike,
got?
what do you got?
Round number 1, Mike. What you got?
I went with election.
Ryan,
Weather.
Aaron.
Election.
Yeah, Ryan. That's some pretty political weather going on right there. The correct answer is election.
Yeah.
With the Revolutionary War snare drums, marching drums going on.
That was it. That was the tip off.
All right. Number 2, Mike. It's a tough one.
Oh, I ended up switching this one up. I went sports.
Okay.
Evening news.
All right.
Weather.
I will say, Mike, I'm a bit disappointed in you. The correct answer is weather for number 2.
Yeah.
Only because I'm only disappointed in you because I'm really curious what you put for number 3. With the had the Limp Bizkit guitars and stuff.
All about the nookie.
I'm not trying to imagine like the evening news theme being like all like giving it up for the nookie. All right, so that meaning
I'll take you on.
Number 3 is sports, but Mike put...
number 3 is obviously sports, but Mike put.
Oh, I put weather.
Okay, that's some.
I got that one right.
I got it right, too.
Some kick-ass weather.
I'm 3 for 3.
Number 3 was sports. Number
brag.
4, Mike.
I went with evening news.
Ryan.
Election.
Aaron.
Evening news.
Evening news is correct. Well done,
I
gentlemen.
don't know anything.
The difference between weather and evening is actually a tricky one in this one.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, and then of course it sounds like number 5 would probably.
We all got lunchtime.
You all got lunchtime, right?
I did get
Thanks.
lunchtime.
Well done,
Thanks
gentlemen.
to Aaron's fresh rhymes.
All right, so Mike, please tell us your final score of correct answers.
I got 3.
Ryan,
2.
Aaron.
He got all of them.
Aaron got 5 for 5.
5 for 5.
Well
My
done.
only question was, number 1, I waffled on it being evening news versus election.
Well, it's you can in
But
retrospect.
at the last minute, I
I
connected
had-
it to 4.
I had evening news and election and then changed it to weather.
All right, well,
Caleb, more of this, please.
yeah, isn't that
was
nice?
great.
Good stuff, right?
That is. a lot of fun.
I really appreciate you guys participating.
What's my prize? That's what I'm really excited about.
Well, you. I'll tell you what. I did.
I think I also won the dinosaur game because I think
We
Ryan
tied.
cheated.
I did
I know
I
he
cheated.
says we tied.
I
but think he
returned.
did
I
not.
returned your wife's Tervis tumbler that you left at my house like 3
Oh,
months
my
ago.
prize is my own
There you
possession.
go. Yeah,
I
you
just
go.
would have been like I returned your wife.
Yes, you returned my wife.
My wife.
My wife.
I mean, I'd moved on.
Hey, I tell you.
Flawless Rodney
Seeing that-
Dangerfield.
That's pretty good.
So
I think.
That's not bad.
That's almost relevant again because I guess we're getting a surprise Borat sequel.
Yes, we
So
are.
I mean, I'm glad we're in COVID quarantine times because I don't know if I can stand another wave of people like, very nice, my wife.
Hopefully, he'll have new catchphrases.
I will.
He'll have all new catchphrases that
I
we can
do-
ape and say for 10 years.
I'll tell you what. I do like Borat. I don't like the people responding to it, but I think Borat is actually I liked Borat. All right,
Yeah.
so we don't have to go into that.
I like to say
What a
my wife.
controversial-
I say my wife all the time.
Wizard sleeve.
I don't say that to my wife.
I've been texting her.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. More.
White people
Great
are the
game.
worst.
You want more of that? You're going to get more of that.
I love it. Well, quick last episode recap. Turns out Red and Blue robots can jump as Prime took over for a fouled-out Metal Arc Lemon and led the Globetrotters to a 112-45 win over the Washington Generals. That was where the Metal Arc Lemon
Yep.
joke was. I thought I buried it. Nice. Grapple and Hoist build a giant phallus in the Portland Desert Mountains with the help of their new Build-A-Bot chums. Megatron took control of the solar-powered shaft to use for his own evil ends. The Autobots defeat Devastator, liberate the Long John, and sentence Hoist and Grappy to some highway litter patrol. It's community service.
This is my birthday episode. What'd you guys get me?
I love you. Darn it! No. Not honest. In all honesty, I do have a birthday present for you. I'm sorry I didn't bring it for this episode.
Well, it's understandable. It's the beginning of October. When we're recording this episode will come out on October 25th.
All right.
West and I actually this year we're doing like a staycation. We're spending 3 days at the Vandevort, a boutique hotel in town.
Otherwise known as the V.
There's also an awesome rooftop cocktail bar that's not connected to the main building that they just finished last year that you should go check out. But the construction,
God damn it.
the interior design of the place is amazing.
Yeah,
I love
Caleb
it.
actually took me there, and we had some drinks at the bar a couple of years ago. And the reason we're going, my girlfriend and I are going, is we get travel reimbursement from work, and it's like you got to use it. And we actually do get to use it this year because nobody gets to travel anywhere. We can also use it for our wellness,
That's great.
equipment or whatever. I think I'm going to buy a gun.
Oh, Ryan's full on Second Amendment now.
That's amazing.
I think I'm going to buy a shotgun.
I have a shotgun. Hey,
I see what you did.
I know we're in a hurry, but if I have a shotgun, if you ever want to go shoot trap, like clay pigeons,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
I've done it once, but yeah, I'd love to.
All right, let's do
West
it.
is going with her friend. They're going hiking, and they're going to shoot the handgun that she has.
Right.
They're
They're
going
to Busey, aren't they?
I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry, we're diverging.
Anyway,
we're
derailed.
diverging. Go ahead.
So let's get it going with Season 2, Episode 33, Auto Berserk, written by Antoni Zalewski. Is he Italian? Is he Ukrainian? Maybe we'll find out. And
Manja.
On
and
the other hand,
made by an unknown animation studio.
Yeah. Who can say?
and I love the. I didn't know this was the unknown one, and I think I was like commenting the animation in this is really good, in my opinion.
It's fine.
God,
I think it has its good points and bad points. It looks
I think
more.
it's great.
Some people say that it's like a blend of ACOM and Toei, but I think it's more on the Toei side
I
of the
agree.
fence.
I think it's good.
It is, but there are definitely some ACOM touches to it. In a weird way, it almost kind of reminds me of the animation inconsistencies in the movie, where it's like at times it's phenomenal. There's
Okay.
other times where it is straight garbage.
Right on.
But I love it. And I'm going to answer a question that you're probably not going to ask. And hey, Mike, why did you pick this
I was
episode?
actually just about to ask that.
Hey, Mike,
Oh, very good.
why did you pick this episode?
Well, the problem with season 2 is that there are so goddamn many episodes. And I don't know about anybody else, but I have almost no nostalgia for season 2. It's like I'm sure I've seen all the episodes, maybe. I know I watched them all religiously when I was a kid after school, and it's kind of like I don't want to say it's a blind spot, but I have very vivid memories of the movie. Obviously, I've kind of built my brand around that, but then I also have incredibly indelible memories of season 1 because I had so many of them on VHS tape and would watch them, so often. I never had anything recorded of season 2. I didn't have like that tape set that Greg had, and I didn't have anything like that. I don't even know if FHE actually put any of season 2 out on VHS. I'd have to research it, but even if it was available, I never watched it. But one of the things that always stuck out to me is Inferno's burning red paranoia eyes. It's just it's an image that's just burned with me. So like we were chatting about, well, hey man, we need to have you on the show again. I was like, hey, do you guys do Auto Berserk again yet? And it actually just kind of worked out timing wise. But really, more than anything, that's the only thing I remembered of this episode was Red Alert's paranoia. And I might be burying the lead or spoiling the lead here, but this episode fucking rules.
I liked it a lot. Honestly, I'm the same way, Mike. In going through season 2, I don't remember a lot of these episodes from when I was a kid. It must have been like just season 1 and 3 got reruns which is weird because season 2 is enormous.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just the impression that those early episodes made on us. But I'll have to rediscover as we go on because a lot of these details haven't really rung a bell, and this one was an iconic episode for me. This is one that I definitely remembered.
And there's a toy with this, right? A Red Alert.
You mean that calls back to his Insanity the Masterpiece toy?
Well, they have the spark.
Right. Yeah, the Masterpiece toy has a gimmick where you can have his lights flashing, like his Insanity lights flashing. But Optimus Prime is counting down a test firing of a device called the NEGAVATOR, and it's a cannon-like contraption that fires upon objects and, as far as we know at this point, makes them invisible or sends them to an alternate universe. It's unclear because...
That's what you thought?
Well,
that's weird because I just thought that was just straight up vaporized.
That's what I thought too.
I mean, that thing's just...
You thought they were made invisible?
Well... I don't know. I mean, that's what happened.
That never even crossed my mind.
There's no...
Not until later, when they start exploding for no reason.
Well, I guess I'm dumb, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this was
But either way, success.
But also, though, why are the Autobots making weapons for humans?
I have that note as well, Mike. I had so many questions, like, immediately. Why is Prime counting down? What is that tank thing? Are the Autobots attacking NASA? Oh, fuck, what's a NEGAVATOR? Did Wheeljack make it? Because it sounds like a racial slur.
Well, that's...
Whoa!
That's
spicy.
Yeah.
The U.S. military is definitely involved, and they're into it. They're happy
just go away.
about the success that has just occurred in front of them. So let's all go out and crack a beer. But hey, before we do, don't forget your tape recorder there on the table, buddy.
Where you're like... I don't have a tape recorder, but that doesn't happen. It just goes away. It's just a very weird episode.
So Soundwave's at the table. How did he get there? And why would these people conducting top secret experiments not be alarmed that there is a tape recorder there? And so
don't forget your tape recorder.
Even if somebody did bring a tape recorder, they'd be in trouble for it, I would think.
Yeah,
that's highly sus.
I'm sure this is super duper top secret, but I would submit that for the amount of times that Spike and other folks, Soundwave is really good at his job, but I think in the world of the Transformers, I think that's a very common tape deck model. I bet you if you went to like the Walmart of Mount St. Hilary, Oregon,
Sure.
the shelves are probably rotten with Soundwave style tape decks.
But if it's got a Decepticon logo on if you've got a Decepticon logo on
people
your
aren't hip to that yet, I guess.
I'm saying
maybe the Autobots want to let them know.
Hey, if you're a robot in disguise, don't have a logo on your alt mode.
Well, there is that.
Or don't or be suspicious of a logo that's in opposition of your logo that you find in your own base.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was not in their base. This is a remote location.
Whatever.
But I feel like the Autobots were heavily involved in constructing this base.
This bunker.
I think that
they keep calling it a bunker.
This is all Grapple's doing.
Right. Yes.
This entire installation was built by Grapple, and I think the humans were in the helicopter.
Yeah. I gotta say, I find Grapple and Hoist really boring, uninteresting characters. Our last episode was also centered on them, and I'm like, I don't care.
It's like, what if Ratchet and Wheeljack had
no personality?
Although his idea is better.
I did say I didn't hate these episodes, and now I'm going into
Ryan's going into full-on hater mode.
irritation.
It is interesting how we've gotten here, though, because we've spent so much time with the classic characters, and it's like, damn, when are the season 2 people going to show up? And now we're just fucking waist deep in the season 2 characters. And it's interesting where it felt like the season 1 characters were kind of organic, and even the movie characters were in their own crass commercialism kind of way, sort of organic.
Mm-hmm.
This is just like, hey, buy these toys.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we've got new toys, so here they are. You know, no introductions, no real reasoning. And one of the themes that we'll discuss in this episode is, you know, taking jobs and stuff. And I think that's I think that's what the season 2 characters are doing. I mean, like Smokescreen here, that could have easily have just been Blue Streak.
Sure.
You know, and it's so I'm with you guys. Because I'm rediscovering these guys along with you as we're doing these episodes. And yeah, the season 2 characters are kind of bland, but also like I found like the
not all of them though. I mean, I think Power Glide and the Warpaths, you got some guys that make a difference, but it's really these characters that are coming in and sort of replacing other characters.
Well, yeah, like I said last episode, where's Ratchet? Like, basically, Hoist and Grapple are taking the Ratchet position.
But I also want to clear up, Grapple designed the bunker. The actual NEGAVATOR is a Wheeljack invention.
That's true.
So we're...
Which actually works.
High-fiving with Ironhide, yeah.
Kudos to Wheeljack, by the way. He's feeling himself at this point in the show because one of his inventions didn't blow up in his fucking face, I guess.
It worked.
That's nice when that doesn't happen. But new-ish character, Red Alert,
so weird,
is a bit suspicious. After all, super weapons from the Autobots in the past haven't eradicated the Decepticons. So he's actually almost sort of replacing Huffer in a way, but with a less whiny, annoying voice.
But here's what I don't understand. Red Alert has spider sense for Decepticons? It's just...
Well, he's got these, I forget what they call it, like logic sensors or whatever. So, it is
an
like
ability
a
of
Spidey
his.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was confusing to me.
That's what he's using now, and they supposedly, I guess now we're familiar that he has this ability because then he doesn't use it later in the episode in Optimus Prime. Questions why it didn't work out.
I guess I just wish it were portrayed in a different way because, like, now it just seems like he's crazy from the jump.
Well, it's connected to the craziness, right? Yeah.
Right.
And yet he's not necessarily crazy yet.
Yeah.
But what I found really bizarre, though, is his vocal delivery here where he says, Decepticons prepare for attack. It's like he's using like Megatron, like it's like is this guy like like a double agent? What's going on here?
Is he possessed by the sound of the radio waves in which the Decepticons are communicating by?
Because he kind of like turns and looks off to the side. He's like, Decepticons, prepare for attack. It's like, is that a command? It's like, it's very weird, very odd.
I don't know. We've had super weapons before, and Megatron's still around. Decepticons, prepare for attack.
There's very few transitions, in at least in terms of the logo thing, and it takes forever before it happens. This might be a little bit tough to track in terms of my notes because I generally use that as the tracking point for where we are in different scenes in different episodes.
Oh, so you've had a plan this whole time?
Believe it or not.
Wow, behind the scenes, a peek behind the curtain.
Shade.
Soundwave is still in tape deck mode, but now he's outside the building that he was just in, and then he reveals himself in robot mode, which sets off Red Alert's internal alarms that we saw previously, and the glowing ears, and that creates all kinds of questions. How did Soundwave get outside? Obviously, none of the humans owned him. So earlier we had hey, don't forget your tape deck. None of those humans owned him, so that means there was a guy in the room that just stole Soundwave and took him outside as if he was on his own tape recorder.
I always thought he was on the tarmac because they're in the helicopter.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. Also, they're government employees, so they think everything is theirs. I just fuck tape deck. It's mine now. So when Soundwave reveals himself, I'm like, it's him. He's here, and I just love how he does like this Frankenstein walk towards him. I had no recollection that this was such a Soundwave heavy episode. But and back to the Red Alert thing, back to the Decepticons attack thing. Is he signaling Soundwave, sleeper agent, Manchurian Candidate? I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Wow. I did. All right, Alex Jones. Prime commands Red Alert to.
Well, it is kind of a tinfoil hat. Hey, think about it.
Prime.
Think about it. Think about it.
Oh,
I will eat your ass.
That was pretty good, actually. Prime commands Red Alert to guard the bunker. Red Alert asks Inferno to stay behind and help him guard, which Inferno is not happy about. He wants to get some action.
But fight.
But they watch as Prime, Smokescreen, Wheeljack, Grapple, Hoist, Ironhide, they all run off to do battle. And we immediately transition to the Autobots driving inside the indoor city that is the base where the NEGAVATOR is being held. This whole time, I thought they were in Autobot headquarters and going to drive to the NEGAVATOR. I didn't realize they had their own base inside the building where the NEGAVATOR
it's a bunker.
is. Right. The bunker.
It is confusing.
But Soundwave, at this point...
It's nice to see the tapes get some action.
He sends out his little homies, and it's a weird combo. You got Rumble Frenzy, Ravage, and Buzzsaw, even though Buzzsaw is colored like Laserbeak.
Yeah.
Right.
This is one of the rare
instances. But it's a weird combo.
Where we see Ravage use his hip rockets.
Yeah. Well, and this is a GIF moment too. You know, anytime you type up Soundwave GIFs, and it's on a loop. This scene of him just spitting out all the tapes. And I'm like, oh, that's where that comes from. But yeah, this sequence rules. The tapes just fucking wreck house.
They're holding it down, for sure.
And anytime I've said that Soundwave is my favorite character, the thing that I've always thrown in there, it's like he's got his own army of little dudes. And maybe I remembered that from this episode subconsciously because, he's just the one-man army here. It's awesome.
And they do a great job. Great job.
I don't think we've ever seen the tapes hold it down like this.
Well, as we've always seen, every time that Prime is taken down by anybody, it's always a tape. Usually Laserbeak. In this instance,
usually
Frenzy.
Yeah.
Who tackles him?
I love it. Fucking lay some wood on Optimus. I love that. That was one of those things I while I was watching it for the first time, because again, I haven't watched this in God knows how long. When Frenzy does like this shoulder tackle, I actually like set out. I'm like, holy shit. like he was in the next room. She's like, you okay, buddy?
You all right?
I'm like, yeah.
Well, as we said, the tapes are doing a great job of managing the situation, and they ultimately cave in the entrance, trapping Autobots inside the bunker, which this is the point where we learned that bunker was built by Grapple, and he's very upset about it being trashed. But at this point, we're wondering, the Decepticons have a great shot at making off with the NEGAVATOR, but Prime has a trick up his sleeve. He contacts Red Alert, who takes control of the NEGAVATOR remotely and fires on Soundwave, which forces him to cartwheel into some cover situations. And at this moment, Inferno unceremoniously and secretly just ditches Red Alert. He's like, I'm going to go join the fight.
A couple of things. Yeah. Why not use the NEGAVATOR to vaporize the rubble in front of the Autobots? That doesn't happen. But
good point.
Number two, we just saw the wipe that goes from scene to scene. It's a very Star Wars wipe, like it's out of nowhere.
Is this the
there
unknown
it is.
studio wipe? Yeah. Well, it's not. I think of the Star Wars wipe as sort of that blur swipe effect. This was almost like a
video toaster situation.
Tumbling cartwheel edit. Hang on, I want to see this one more time. Yeah, that is a whack. That wipe had to be animated.
Yes, that is an animated wipe. It's so weird. And Aaron, you were talking earlier about lack of transitions. This one could have used a na 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 na.
Totally.
Because so maybe it has something to do with Studio X or whatever.
Yeah.
I also want, before we get too far, why is Red Alert so codependent with Inferno? Because it's like Inferno's like, I want to go fight. I'm going to go. It's like, no, Inferno.
Stay here.
This is Ryan and my high school relationship, so I don't know, Ryan.
Which one am I?
What do you think you are?
Oh, man.
I'm obviously Red Alert.
Okay, yep, where we go.
Stay with me. Don't go talk to girls.
Or do drugs.
Right.
Hey, we did some pranks, Ryan. I remember sneaking out with you and putting. This is the weirdest prank I remember.
Oh God, what are you gonna say?
We snuck out, and I remember putting toothpaste under people's car door hinges.
I don't remember that
That's
at
a
all.
good one. That's a good one.
Is it?
Well, you guys.
These are the weekends where I would stay at your dad's trailer during his
right after the
post-divorce bachelor times, and he was slumming trailers for a bit.
That trailer was awesome.
Good old Floyd.
We'd watch USA up all night, and then we'd just go do a couple of pranks.
And I'd watch Swamp Thing on USA Network all day.
So Prime, we already talked about the trick. Ditches Red Alert to join the fight. Prime's boys, not to be confused by the Proud Boys, break out of the building and confront Soundwave's squad. They hold things down until Rumble hops in the Navigator. Navigators? That's what we're calling it from now on. Until he hops in the cockpit and takes control. Before he can fire on Prime, that's Rumble inside the NEGAVATOR. The Navigator? However you say it. Red Alert shows up.
NEGAVATOR.
He squirts some foam on it, and that keeps it from being able to do that.
Look at Prime doing look at Prime.
Meanwhile,
go ahead.
Optimus has machine gun mode.
Yeah,
on his
true.
ion cannon.
Look at that. Look at him go
rad.
off.
He's like, bah, 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 bah.
Pretty awesome.
But the plan is foiled. The Decepticons retreat, but not before Rumble sends a rocket inside the bunker that travels all down
So he has
all the
guided
corridors
missiles.
That was a good
and ultimately
shot.
finds itself exploding right on Red Alert.
That was a good shot.
So Rumble has guided missiles. Like this is a huge power upgrade. What the fuck?
Heat-seeking missiles, heat.
It fucked. What's his face up?
Red Alert.
And again,
episode.
the dynamic posing, though, I love how, like, as the tapes are escaping, Rumble does like this exaggerated anime Superman pose before he fires off that missile.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how he's flying off like that in style.
I mean, poor Red Alert. I mean,
I like how the other Autobots keep calling him Red. I think that's a fun nickname.
So
I've started doing it.
would you say this is like PTSD?
It's not very. They don't make it very clear that the explosion has made him
Sometimes
crazy.
things like
and part of the reason why I like that we're doing this episode now, kind of like in this like postmodern type thing. This is I've listening to More Than Meets the Pod. They've inclined me to look at these old episodes from a completely different angle. That's why I dig their show so much. But what I'm seeing now is this particular episode is just rotten with fic potential. Like, what's Red Alert's story? What's Red Alert and Inferno story? What's the history there? I kind of want that fic. I want that spicy fic.
Give me that spicy fic.
Whatever that fic is, I'm sure it's going to be thick because
Give me that thick spicy.
You guys are
fic.
good at your jobs. This is great.
Unlike Inferno.
He just becomes a crazy person.
Hoist pulls Red from the rubble, but he's a little fucked up in the head. He's hot pissed. He blames Inferno for the situation, and Red throws Inferno under the bus to Optimus Prime and says that he believes that Inferno wants his job, and that's why this is all happening.
This is why I just wish that the sparks weren't just there from the beginning and that they were meant to indicate his increasing level of insanity, but whatever, it's fine.
Or maybe if they would have used it during the alert mode, just light up, like Wheeljack style, light up the sides of his head, but whenever he's kind of going crazy, then amp up the intensity of the animation.
But instead, he looks like a meth addict with red-rimmed eyes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they needed to illustrate his special ability of his spider sense in an episode where they also needed him to make him crazy, and they just used the same kind of visual cues to do that.
I like how he's talking to Prime here. He's just so indignant. He's like, clasping his hands behind his back. He's pacing. I mean, he's really going full Lithgow here. He's got like this weird John Lithgow type affectation here. Maybe I just watched Ricochet the other night, so I've got Lithgow on the brain. But he's
That's a rando. Is that the one with Russell Crowe?
No, Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. Okay, yeah.
Lithgow's a serial killer, and he torments Denzel Washington, the cop that put him away. It is a straight up canon movie from the early '90s. I hadn't seen it in like 20 years, and anyway, so
Harry
I've got
and the Hendersons.
There you go.
I'm just gonna say John Lithgow movies. Third Rock from the Sun.
For Red over here to be like Progresso, shoot!
Buckaroo Banzai.
It's just like that level of intensity. I wasn't quite expecting it. Please continue.
Prime tells Red Alert to get checked out by Hoist.
He thinks Prime wants him out of the way for some reason.
Red Alert declines. This is a very weird plot point in the episode.
This is so weird.
Optimus Prime wants the Autobots to go back to headquarters because it's too dangerous here at the bunker. Red Alert, he's like, this is more evidence of the Autobots plotting against him, which I don't understand because he wants all the Autobots to go home, including Red Alert. So I don't know why. I don't know how you would interpret that as a plot against you.
It's mental
illness. I know, yeah, right. Sure.
Yeah.
The Autobots...
it comes and goes, and goes.
Yeah, the Autobots roll...
and goes. I could have used a third comes and goes. That's just...
The Autobots roll out with the Negavator in tow. The Decepticons are watching via Ravage-vision, and Meggy Boy, of course, he's agitated at Soundwave's failure.
This is weird. This is the first and maybe only time where Megatron is really harsh with Soundwave.
Mm-hmm.
Really harsh?
I'm not here for that. It's like don't backtalk my boy. What are you doing?
He calls them incompetent fools, which he
harsh,
never
bro.
does to Soundwave.
Starscream steps up, though. He's willing to pledge to do better and win the day. The Autobots are driving through a ravine at this point. We transition. After Red Alert fails to identify a noise, and by identify a noise, what happens, I think some rocks fall to the ground.
A rock fell.
But it's triggered looks like either like rumble, like kind of missteps on the edge of the cliff.
He kicks it off,
As the rocks fall directly in front of Optimus Prime, and he's like, "Hey, what was that noise?"
Analyze that.
Red Alert. What was that?
Fucking moron.
With the rocks directly in front of him.
Just keep driving. It's just a rock.
But Red Alert fails or at least his Spidey sense fails to identify that is a potential surprise attack. And that gives the Decepticons the opportunity to create another avalanche in a ravine episode.
Weird.
To bury the good guy convoy that we have here, leaving the Negavator just, it's pickins for the takins. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we go to commercial. And that's a transition. How about that?
Yay.
How about that?
They don't happen that often in this episode.
No, I do think it was interesting. So I've watched this episode a couple times. Once with Lucky, I was like, "Hey man, you want to watch this episode with me? I need to watch it again."
And she was like, "Don't call me man, you sexist son of a bitch."
No, I'm the worst husband ever. I conversely call her both man and dude at different times. I'm like, "What do you think, dude?"
That's really sweet.
Anyway, so we get to this ravine sequence, and she's like, "No wonder the Autobots are a terrible team. Optimus is always telling them to transform." And I was like, "Oh, you should be friends with my buddy Caleb."
Yes,
because she picked up on. He's like, he is always telling them what to do. They just like have no idea what to do on their own.
They're lemmings. They're all lemmings, and they drive through ravines
all the time.
All the time.
That's not a strategic location.
Stupid.
It is interesting to see the whole Seeker Squadron here in its full force. Just that they're a lot more intimidating whenever there's more than just the big three.
I like seeing them in the squadron. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed like Smokescreen's special ability here. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought that was neat seeing him like make literally a smokescreen and then It's weird though that like the Decepticon seekers say they can't see, and I'm like, don't they fly on instruments anyway? So how are they?
Well, but Starscream, so he says switch. He says switch to radar.
Yeah.
And then Smokescreen is like, yes, perfect, just according to my plan, and then starts like GoBot shooting him like through his fists. But that was kind of the question I had. It's like, so something about the Seekers using radar kind of activates this electromagnetic nonsense that scrambles them up. It's very odd. I think it's like the combination of them using radar and Smokescreen using this special laser blast on them.
Yeah, I guess I just thought more that it's weird that optically they're seeing something instead of just using instruments in the first place. Like in the best case scenario, they're using their eyes. Like what? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
To Mike's point, it sounds like Smokescreen's got that covered.
I know. What I'm saying is why they see anything ever.
Well, you don't know where they got cameras. They're fucking robots, man.
Fair enough.
Well, keeping in mind they are only pretending to be planes. They're masquerading
That's right.
as planes.
Yeah,
So
they're actually just flying eyeballs.
You got to forget. Also,
we're gonna chisel that on your tombstone, Ryan.
Judging, and from the previous episode, there's cameras everywhere.
It's true.
Maybe they can dial into those cameras.
Yeah, absolutely.
They use their instruments to make sure that they're oriented in the earth and not just crashing into ravines. I like how Megatron just crashes into the NEGAVATOR.
He does.
Wham!
He does say, "I have morons on my team," which is one of my favorite lines. It's
all-time classic.
It's a quote from a movie that I don't remember, but he is quoting a film. I can't remember.
Smokescreen does perfectly fuck them up, though.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, he owns the moment. It fucks up their radar and their visual.
It's like
it does all kinds of damage.
Yeah.
They just kind of cough. Like some of them fly into a mountain, some of them cough a little bit.
Coughing.
Ramjet says, "If I crash, I'm going to take an Autobot with me." Megatron manages to get into the NEGAVATOR's cockpit. He takes aim at the Autobots, and then Ramjet crashes into the cockpit, and he knocks Megatron out of it. And it's a very what the fuck moment. First of all, because it takes many, many seconds between when Ramjet says that and it actually pays off.
The pacing of this episode is strange.
It's very odd.
I think that even goes back to the whole editing of the transitions. They just can't quite cut it up into digestible segments. Megatron gets knocked out. The Decepticons have to retreat again. This is a triple retreater episode. They ditch Starscream, who is still recovering from Smokescreen on the cliffs.
Also, okay, so right here, this is where I think it's Prime. He says, or somebody says, it'll take days to clear this rock pile. Use the NEGAVATOR. What the fuck?
Unless it just makes things invisible.
It doesn't make things invisible.
You don't know.
I do know, because otherwise Soundwave wouldn't have to dodge around them when it's being shot at him.
I mean, it makes things explode later. So.
I don't understand why you'd ever think it makes things invisible.
Dude.
That's so weird.
I've already expressed this. I'm dumb.
No. We all, just so that we're all on the same page, what we do know is the NEGAVATOR negavates things.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, apropos of nothing, but you would think that Hoist and Grapple would be really good at moving rubble by now.
No.
Because we just saw him do it.
Yeah.
What we need to discuss, no, we don't need to discuss, is what does it mean to negavate something?
Oh, we cannot litigate.
I guess it like
You just can't.
I guess we can say it just cancels out its existence.
It cancels out.
Vaporizing.
It cancels out whatever you need to do, whatever you need to have canceled out to move the plot forward.
Right.
What if it makes you super positive?
If that's part of the moving the plot forward, yes, I agree.
It cancels you out like
Yeah.
I was going to say J.K. Simmons. No, what's the Harry Potter author name? Forget it.
J.K. Simmons.
This
J.K.
joke is,
Rowling.
This joke is going nowhere.
J.K. Rowling.
By the way,
you finished what you were getting ready to say.
I'm going to do a quick plug for the movie Palm Springs on Hulu.
That movie rules.
You saw that, dude?
Should I watch?
That
movie
was
rules.
a fucking awesome movie.
Should I watch it?
It's got
Yeah.
it's like
It's got J.K. Rowling in it.
it's
That's fucking
she just
turf.
walks on and she's like, fucking get out of my bathroom. Anyway, no, it's got J.K. Simmons in it, and he is awesome. It's
Steals the show.
An Adam Sandberg. I don't know if they wrote it. It's a Lonely Island thing.
It is straight up Lonely Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
It takes the concepts of Groundhog Day, but just brings them into a contemporary. And that might even be too much of it. It's not really a spoiler because that's a very early thing in the movie.
It's in the trailer, but I would say it's kind of like Groundhog Day crossed with Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like the time loop and the way that it works.
Okay.
It is hilarious. It's funny. It's awesome.
It's
it
shockingly
rules.
good.
I'll check it
was
out.
Really good.
I'll check
Palm
it out.
Beach.
Gotcha.
Palm Springs. But Caleb was trying to legislate negavating a little bit ago. And speaking of negavating, how about Optimus Prime's management style here? You know, he's the king of negative reinforcement because he straight up tells Red Alert, he's like, "You're more damaged than I thought," and that just hurt me where I live.
You're clinically fucked.
Yeah.
It's like, you're more damaged than I thought.
Yeah. Well, who's the?
Just not a nice thing to say.
Certainly
You don't-
not the master of de-escalating a
No.
situation.
That's Prime. That's internal talking. Prime.
Fucking Red Alert scampers off into a city that's in the middle of a clearing.
Yes.
Yeah, he just runs off.
Prime
really
realizes
weird.
that Red Alert's failure is the reason for all of this. He's putting this whole situation on Red Alert. Yeah, it causes Red Alert. He's convinced that everybody wants to disassemble him for spare parts. He takes off through the forest.
No, disassemble number 5.
Meanwhile,
Well,
Starscream's recovered.
Keeping in mind, though, that Red Alert is mold mates with Sideswipe. And where's Sideswipe? I don't see him in this episode.
Yeah, you know who would have been good with for that rubble clearing? Sideswipe.
Oh yeah, he got them,
that's true.
them hand crashers.
But yeah, so he might not be wrong. Red might not be as wrong as we might think, and it is weird how the other guys just kind of like roll up to him, almost like, "Come with us, Red. We're your friends.
Everything will be fine." I do like.
I'd run off. It is weird.
Aaron has paused. What 11?
1103,
and Red Alert's side panel of his vehicle mode says "Chiff" instead of "Chief."
That's pretty funny. Starscream's recovered. He is pissed over Megatron's abandonment. The Autobots, they continue their hunt for Red Alert. They follow
Prime
him.
just knows he's in that city.
Yeah. Well, they follow him through the woods. They believe he's made his way to a city. Maybe there's nowhere else they could go. I don't know. Maybe they got an expert tracker.
Sure.
And then they're in the
on their
city.
team.
They're like running around and like,
then,
whoa, there
then
he
they
is.
see him. They give chase. It's him. It's an actual firefighting Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, the fire chief is
fire
driving
chief
a
car.
Lamborghini.
Though you would think,
Look,
you
he's
would think the fire-
definitely siphoning
Well,
funds
what
from
was
the
the- what-
from the.
you would think
Did
so.
the Transformer toy transform into a firefighting Lamborghini?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's a fire chief car, and I would think that the chief needs to be in the fastest car. It kind of makes
He's
sense.
got to get there.
It's a weird choice.
But also, I want to say that, like, you know, when we see Red in disguise there, he not only has his sirens blaring, but he's also like throwing the crazy sparks even in vehicle mode. I thought that was just a bizarre touch.
I also thought it was weird that Ironhide can't tell the difference between a regular ass car and his buddy, but like the way the fire chief delivers his line, he's reacting in the strangest way. He seemed fine with the fact there's a 25-foot robot holding his car, but as soon as Ironhide puts it down and transforms, now he's weirded out by it and says he has to take a vacation. What changed?
I think it's just another one of those.
Bad writing?
Yeah.
because television show. Also for Dreamcasting, I want to see Gary Busey as the fire chief here. He's like, I gotta take that vacation.
I want to
Or
see
perhaps
Gary.
Alternatively, Holly Hunter, maybe.
I want to see him as everybody.
Yes,
Gary Busey?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I'll take that vacation. I mean, you could get Holly Hunter in there too. Same voice.
Things got to change.
Go watch Silver Bullet. It's an excellent movie from this year,
Yes.
actually, 1985.
Co-signed. Great movie.
Here's the deal. Red Alert's giving his pals the slip. The real Red, smoky, dark blue circles under his eyes. He takes refuge in a garage where he hears his name being called. He enters. A mysterious hand lies on his shoulder. He turns. It's
so
you!
creepy.
When we go to
It's
commercial.
so creepy though, because he's like, Red Alert, come over here. I've got candy for you.
Over
I got
here.
I got the dankest weed, and I got Visine to fix up like your eye issue too. So weird.
I love that also when we come back, Starscream and Red Alert are chilling on a pile of tires, which must be monster truck tires because they're enormous if you just even look at the size of Red Alert's tires on his body. We haven't gotten there yet. We'll get there in a second.
Well, also Starscream's got like this weird kissy face. Also, he's like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, the mouth they animate here is very strange.
And
for
that
Starscream.
close-up, it's done well. I
Is it?
like the way that the shadows interplay here. Maybe the eyeball part is a little bit
around the eyes
awkward.
is great, but
the
The mouth is gross. Yeah, what is that? It looks like a butthole.
I feel like this is indicative of it not being a 100% Toei episode. This is one of those moments that felt if Toei had done it, it would have looked
Yes.
maybe a little cleaner. I could see the whole unknown studio conspiracy playing out with scenes like
Yep.
this. It doesn't feel like what we've seen before. Starscream, I might have did I skip?
I do
past
like
it?
how
Hang on.
Prime has
ahead.
the Triforce on his wrist.
Yeah, Prime and the team, they're putting the search and rescue on pause, and it's like, we got to get the NEGAVATE. This is where things get really weird.
This is where.
We got to get the NEGAVATOR back to the bunker. It's like, why are you taking it back to the bunker? Why'd you leave to begin with then? What the fuck? But despite the protests that Red might explode if they don't find him,
Also,
Prime
who said
pushes
that?
his Triforce button on his wrist, and the boys head out.
Yeah.
I don't remember who said it.
No, I'm just saying they all of a sudden say that Red Alert's going to explode, and I'm like,
And how do they know? Yeah. What's the evidence? Autobots just explode if they start acting wacky.
Anyway.
So here's the deal, Red. Megatron hates me. The Autobots hate you. But you know, it would be
There's the
fucking
tires.
rule if you and me had the NEGAVATOR and ruled the world together. That would be like every Logan Paul fan's favorite clothing line.
Ugh.
Supreme.
I don't necessarily understand the reference, but gross.
I get it and I don't like it. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
The Autobots, we're going to see them back at the bunker after this tire sitting scene that Ryan is so fond of.
Yeah, thanks for nobody giving me anything for that.
We are back at the bunker again for some reason. We don't know why. They just feel better now that the NEGAVATOR is back in a building with a hole blown in the side of it. They park NEGAV on level 9 while Prime plays some dick games trying to get Hoist impaled by an iron gate.
It is like, why did you have to do it so fast? Why'd you have to close it that
Yeah.
fast? We're always
Aren't you my boss? I don't think I can trust you anymore.
Yeah. Ugh.
Telling you, Prime is a bad manager in this episode.
Meanwhile, Red and Screamer, they're sneaking onto the base. Ravage is spying on them, which alerts Megatron to the treachery of this whole situation. Despite calls from the clan to cut Scream's throat, they decide to let him do the hard work for them, and then they'll cut in and they'll gank that NEGAVATOR.
Yeah.
This is another one of those anti-Toei parts of the episode. There's different styles and layerings of shading that seem very unique, and there's also some
Unique.
extra blurred highlights, like right here at
Yeah.
at
weird.
15:33. Yeah,
Where,
it just
yeah.
doesn't.
Stuff
It
we
just
haven't
doesn't feel
seen before,
completely-
or stuff we haven't seen before.
Where Thrust's arm is highlighted in a very strange.
Who
shiny.
are these animators? Where do they come from? How did this happen? How is there no trail? How is there no trail to this?
Why do people comb their hair? Is it because their hair looks better afterwards? Who are these people?
In general, also, just the contrast and sharpness seem unique to this episode. And they do a lot of animated backgrounds, which is a Toei thing. But Red Alert and Starscream invade the base, cooking it through the tunnels narrowly, avoiding the Torque 3 style tunnel drones.
I had that note too. The tunnel drone looks like it was made by Torque 3. This weird gangly, tentacly thing that barrels down the tunnel.
Very close to the same animation.
I remember
model.
this. I remember this segment particularly as when I watched this. I was like, I remember this part because I thought it was interesting that the Autobots had these kind of precautions in place that would cause this kind of harm on something else.
But are they? This is the question.
This is an Autobot designed base.
Is the Negavator for the Cybertronians or is it for the government? It's not clear why it's made or where this is or who owns it.
Right. Good point. I thought it was unusual.
Red Alert and Starscream invade the base. They're cooking it through the tunnels. That because they've tripped the alarm, the Autobots have got to peep the scene here. Red Alert is incensed that they changed
Another weird wipe.
An animated wipe. Holy shit. Unless it's not animated and I just don't understand the technology that they use to do it. But Red Alert is going to use the power of the Negavator to make that gate disappear or explode.
Now it explodes.
It's going to make it negavate, dude.
It doesn't vaporize anymore. It explodes.
Just say it negavates it.
Okay. The power is to negavate.
Yes.
All right. Whether it is an explosive
We
fashion
don't know.
or a disappearing
We can
fashion.
only speak.
Maybe it's invisible.
We can only speak to what we know, and they negavate the gate.
Well, you don't know, Ryan.
I know that it's not
Son of a
invisible
bitch.
because they drive through it.
I guess that's fair.
It's been negavated. Just talk to what you know.
The gate.
The Autobots show up on the scene. What the fuck you doing, Red Alert? Taking the Negavator, you sons of bitches. Red crosses the bridge and takes a warning shot at the Autobots. Just then, the Decepticons show up.
So strange.
They're ready to take on that Negavator. Starscream and Meg settle their differences, turn on Red Alert immediately. Starscream fires on Red Alert with his null ray, and the impact that had the effect of stabilizing Red Alert circuits.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was an ACOM-ish moment. The coloring and just the line drawing feels more ACOM to me.
Yeah, it's not good. Also, what is fucking Grapple just doing hanging out there next to the Decepticons?
It does feel like an animation error.
But it happens again, and he...
But then it's like he gets the jump on him. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I'm going to
Not,
stay in.
It's like they don't know who he is.
There's a whole nother subfic there where he actually hangs out with the Decepticons again. Maybe this episode takes place during the whole process where he's helping the Constructicons construct that big solar power collector.
There you go. There you go.
This is an overlap in time.
There's some overlap. Yeah, why not?
I love it. I
Why
love it.
not?
Meanwhile, Red Alert and Starscream are going to start a secret family.
Yes.
Well, Starscream fires on Red Alert with the null ray. He's restabilized. Is that a way to put it?
He's temporarily, it
he's-
makes him stay, stasis, whatever. It's not
he's
going to matter. Who cares?
He's negavated.
God damn it.
He set the Negavator to self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
Has this ever been a function of any vehicle or base in the real world?
My car.
Yeah, the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah, that's
But
right. That's right.
It's not the real world.
Tesla automobiles.
You did. You said. You did.
Zero, destruct zero.
You did, Ryan. You did say anything or the real world.
Well, I said any vehicle or base in the real world.
Oh.
I don't think it is. It has.
Who knows? How can we know?
Well, I know because I investigated it.
I mean, I think it's the Oklahoma City Federal Building. That wasn't Timothy McVeigh. Somebody just
Controlled
accidentally
demolition
sat
like
on
9/11.
Fine. Whatever.
Wow.
But the Negavator has one.
It's
gotta
been
be
a hot minute since we've had a follow the money cui bono reference. Jesus.
I just don't know why it doesn't shut down instead of exploding. Just make make everything seize instead of explode. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, it's a
See,
little
they're in
dumb.
love. Look at him.
Red
They're in
hops
love.
on Starscream, He set the controls to the heart of Kaboom. This gives the Autobots an opening to fire on the Decepticons, and the Decepticons retreat for the third time this episode because that Negavator is gonna blow. The day is saved, but there's still drama because the Negavator explodes as the Autobots evacuate the building.
And cough for some reason.
Again.
I hate it.
Red is safe for now, but the flames inside the building will consume him if they don't act fast. Inferno.
I did like
Inferno.
that
Oh, go
Inferno. Yeah, I did like that Inferno saves Red Alert. I thought that was a nice capper.
Who's the guy? Oh, Optimus Prime has his armor.
See, there's
on.
your phone.
Ironhide.
Yeah.
Watch Ironhide literally walk through Optimus a few cells back. Ironhide literally morphs, negavates through Optimus Prime.
Motherfucker.
I will gift that later.
All right, just pay attention.
Inferno jumps to action. He uses a ton of his firefighter skills to put out the fire. He picks up Red Alert, pulls him out of the building, carrying him as if under the threshold. These mofos are all saved. They've shown great bravery today. Red, Inferno, they're commended by Optimus Prime. There's a nice sugary moment where they look into each other's eyes and start making out right as we cut to credits.
And Red Alert keeps talking after his mouth keeps moving after the words are done.
Because he just moves his mouth. He's just
yeah. Oh, don't get me horny.
And the unknown animators, are they okay?
Are they okay?
I think they made it. That's the end of the episode, everybody.
Bye.
Great job.
Oh, wait.
Deviations.
I have nothing.
There's no script deviations.
Well, I didn't do script deviations. If you guys remember, I got bored with some of this stuff last night.
Sure,
And
fine.
so I wanted to go with something else.
Do
We're
it.
going to change things up a little bit this week. We're now in
The real world.
this aired.
I'm in charge now.
That's right. October 16th. I think Aaron said 13th. I don't know. I thought it was 16th, 1985. I want to talk about something that happened this week in 1985, and if I may be presumptuous, probably changed all of our lives and the world forever.
Oh, tell us what it is.
This is where I asked you guys if you wanted to make a list of your 5 favorite NES games.
Yes, and I did.
Caleb, why don't you tell us what they are?
All right, so you want me to just tell you kind of my top 5 NES games?
Yeah.
I did have a Nintendo. I did play on it in its golden age. Here are my top 5. I'm going to just start with the obvious one, which we've discussed before, which is Romance of the Three
I
Kingdoms.
knew that was going to be
Yeah, of course. You made a T-shirt for me about it.
I did.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say that and get it out of the way. All right. The other one that I liked a lot and I played heavily was Mario 2.
Oh, that's a
I
good
had
one.
that on my list too.
Interesting game.
It was a
Loved
totally
Underrated.
it. It is
great,
underrated.
great evolution of the game.
Mario
Bright
2 is
characters, great animation.
Mario 2 is a great game. Next, I had a game that I never beat, and it drove me insane. I loved it, but it drove me absolutely insane. Was Ninja Gaiden.
I knew.
I had that on my list,
I guessed
too.
that as well.
Ninja Gaiden was a great game.
Action packed,
So hard.
irritating as fuck.
Frustrating.
Fucking
Most
bats,
But the
frustrating.
anime cutscenes were amazing.
Yeah, and you would want to play it to get to those scenes, but yeah, it was a really frustrating game for me. Next, I played another Final Fantasy type game that I liked. Was called Dragon Warrior.
Oh yeah,
I played Dragon Warrior.
Sure.
Game.
Very
I beat
early one.
and I did beat that one.
Fist
I
bump.
did not beat Dragon. I did
beat
not
it too.
beat Dragon Warrior 2. I swear there was a glitch in the game in Dragon Warrior 2. Last I had was a pure just enjoying game. Like if you went over to a friend's house and you wanted a game to play where you just shoot them up, kick some ass, win the game shortly. Contra.
Yeah, that's on my
Contra.
list too.
Contra it was just so much fun. You could just blast. It was a good game just to shoot the shit out of
It's a
people.
great game if you want to just burn 20 minutes and beat a game.
That's right. So
And I got so good at Contra at one point that I did not need the 30-man code.
Ooh.
Wow.
Mike, you want to tell us what
yeah,
yours
what was
were?
yours, Mike?
Oh, sure. Well, Contra, obviously. I mean, it's like I tried to kind of come up with like ones that you guys wouldn't have, but I couldn't leave off Contra. So
Right.
I had Contra. I had Tecmo Super Bowl.
That's a good one.
It's the sequel to Tecmo Bowl. Like Tecmo Bowl, I for some reason we had the second one, and me and my dad played this thing endlessly. It was tons of fun. Keeping it with sports.
Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl. I mean, those were giant games for their like sport. They were like the top tier football games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and tons of fun because like the gameplay was so simple and intuitive. You just kind of like arrow to which guy you want to control. It's like you're the quarterback, then you throw the ball, then you arrow to the receiver, catch the ball, and you run in. And it was great. My dad would routinely beat me though, because he would figure out that I would, when on offense, I would choose the most complicated plays. Like I would do like flea flickers and gadget plays. And I'd be like, I'm like, how'd you tackle me so quick? He's like, you keep doing them flea flickers. How about you just run the ball on first down instead?
I just like the idea that you would have stopped the sentence after my dad continuously beat me.
Okay.
Unbuckles belt.
Yeah.
That's so dark. Instead of your dad just saying, use your running back every now and again, I'm going to beat the shit out of you instead.
Yeah. Who won that game, Mike? Who fucking won?
It's got really weird, really quick.
Yeah, I agree with
Sorry.
you. I agree with you. What was next?
Did you guys ever play Base Wars, that Cyber Stadium robot baseball game?
I know what you're talking about, but no,
That
I
game
don't think I did.
kicked ass. So basically, it's I don't play a whole lot of sports games, and like most of the baseball games on NES were pretty lame, but you give me this. So basically what it is, it's baseball with robots, but it also has like this, I don't know if you'd get money or experience or whatever it was, but you could like upgrade your robots to where like you would have like flamethrowers, missiles, cannons, laser swords. So like your runner is on base, you go to steal the base, and when the third baseman comes up to you, instead of tagging you out, it goes to a different screen, kind of like Blades of Steel, and you fight. So it's
That's
like,
awesome.
Sounds familiar.
and so like if you win, you get to steal the base. If you lose, well, you're out.
Right.
So it had like this. I mean, it's not a robust game, but it's one of those things that's fun to just get on. And I had this kind of like, I guess you would call it a third party or aftermarket controller, to where it had like the turbo buttons on it. So it's like whenever I would play somebody, I had the turbo controller, they didn't, and you just lay on the B button and you could just like laser them to death. It fucking rules. It was undefeated. It probably doesn't surprise anybody to know that I was also a Game Genie kid. I did.
You were the Barry Bonds of this game, it sounds like.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, but speaking of Game Genies, one that I got a lot of use out of it on was Mega Man 3.
Yeah.
Those Mega Man games are fucking hard. I don't care. I needed the infinite lives.
Mega Man 2 almost made my list. I love that
Mega
game.
Man 2 is an all-timer. I agree with you. I went with Mega Man 3 because that was kind of like when we're at like peak Mega Man fandom. I think like maybe that was about the time the cartoon came out, and yeah, it was like I had like a huge Mega Man phase, and it kind of peaked with Mega Man 3. The last one on my list, Double Dragon 2.
Oh, that's
nice.
a
Good one. That's
you
a
could
good
finally have two players together on the screen.
Jimmy and Bimmy.
Jimmy and Bimmy.
Cyclone kick. Yeah, no, that
and I
that
think
game
you
was
had
a
all
lot
the
of fun.
powers right from the jump also with that one. Did you not? I can't. I remember in the original Double Dragon, you had to play like 3/4 of the game to build up your skills. But I think you had all the skills right from the beginning, unless
you could double jump and do the cyclone kick. You could pick
Throw
up weapons
people
as they fell over. You could like chain people and stuff. Yeah, that game was awesome. So that's my 5.
Luckily, I made a longer list than 5 since
Oh,
people
good.
mentioned some of my games. Metroid. spooky. A lot of mine are probably going to be basic, but
I
mean,
made a basic
okay,
list.
be honest.
spooky labyrinth. There's so much to explore. All the weapons.
Yeah.
It was infuriating, but it felt like there were stakes all the time, and I attribute that to the music. That game probably had the best video game music of all time, and I beat the game, and it just has a lot of satisfaction when you finally beat it, because there's no way you can play that game and not like, it's not like Contra where you beat it in 20 minutes. You're invested from beginning to end in Metroid.
Yeah, that's something where you got to pause it, turn off the TV, and hope your mom doesn't turn off the Nintendo when she sees the red power light.
Because
still
the
on.
password system for Metroid is fucking crazy.
It is. It's like 75 characters.
And they're infuriating characters where it's like you can't tell
Like
if it's an
little
O or a
symbols.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin Bailey, man. You just put in password Justin Bailey, and it puts you like right before the end boss, and you got the freeze ray.
All you need.
Try it tonight.
How many
Justin
missiles
Bailey, one
do you
word.
have?
99.
Who was Justin Bailey?
I don't know.
I guess a programmer.
Mrs. Bailey's son.
I also have Castlevania 2 on the list. I know that's a classic hated game.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
controversial.
The music, the graphics,
The music is amazing.
I don't think that game is as bad as it's gotten credit for being in a
I agree.
modern context. Blaster Master was a game I was addicted to. Did any of you guys play Blaster
I
Master?
have it.
But yeah, the graphics are awesome. There's lots of styles of play, great controls. You're in a vehicle, you're out of a vehicle.
Bunch of different weapons and shit.
It's actually, the graphics are like for 8-bit, just shockingly good. I don't know how many that was. Metroid.
Just 3.
I have Zelda on here. I mean, I know that's like so basic,
Yeah,
but
sure.
the exploration, the spookiness, the fun. TMNT2, the arcade game.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Fun.
When that came out, I was so happy. I mean, the original Ninja Turtles game is fun in its own
It's
way.
again one that I like,
Fine.
that I
But-
think gets a lot of hate, but I
Right.
enjoy.
Yeah, but when that one came out, that was what you were wanting, because you'd been in the arcade, you'd been to Aladdin's Castle, you'd played that game. It was so amazing, and now you finally had it at home. Does that count as 5? I'm going to throw out Zelda in favor of Super Mario 3. Super Mario 3 might be the perfect game. Do you have 3 on your list?
I don't have it on the list, but that was one of the ones in contention.
It's a perfect game, and all of us can contest to maybe like getting on the waiting list at the video rental store to get it.
Yeah.
I would know
That
when
was
Ryan
huge.
had it was going to return it.
Yeah.
And I would call the video rental store and I'd be like, I know that's coming in soon. You got to hold it for me.
It was a game. It was a game that it lived up to your expectations. That being said, I for some reason, if I had to play a game, if I had to choose and play a game all over again, I still go with Mario 2 because it's just like a weird ass game.
I've never been
unique
good.
game.
I think Mario 3
They have their own place.
Mario 3 set the standard for games like that afterwards.
Yeah.
For sure. It was hugely. It had a much bigger.
They made a
impact.
whole movie to promote it
Yeah.
called The Wizard.
Yeah,
Well, it had all the right elements of Mario 2. You could now pick stuff up, and it had some of the characters, like the Bob-ombs, like the most iconic characters.
It was incredible. It was,
but
a huge,
it brought it back to the original world, and it was colorful and fun, and there was so much
I
going
honestly have never been very good at the Mario games. I don't think I've
I-
ever beaten a single one.
I was really good on Game Boy. I had
Super
the
Mario World.
Yes, I was really good at Mario World on Game Boy. I could play it all the way through without losing a guy and play it through again.
That is-
Wow.
So you were
and that,
drowning.
and that was a hard game, the
Yeah,
Game Boy Mario
I was
game.
good at it.
So you were drowning in pussy.
Yeah, at 8 years old, absolutely.
Ryan, I feel like all of this was just a build-up to hear your list.
It's not, because my list is super basic. Contra was on there because, again, like, it's a perfect game where you're like, you could just, especially playing with a friend, you
we
can play
played
it.
Super
Yep.
Contra recently, maybe
It's
in the last year
it's
or
hard.
two. It was so
It's
fun.
much
though.
harder. Yeah, it's fun.
We didn't beat it.
But yeah, like Contra is just a game you can play with a friend for like 20, 25 minutes and beat it. Zelda, that was my first game I ever played, even before Super Mario. It came with the NES that I bought as a kid. And Zelda and Metroid and Castlevania are all 3 on my list. And I think it's because I like the enormous worlds. And just for the time, it was like an expansive thing that was not necessarily the norm. Like Castlevania is straightforward, and Zelda's not, and Metroid is not.
I
But-
remember you and me making maps for Zelda
Yep.
when we were kids playing it.
Graphics.
We would draw it out, and we were trying to figure out how how to beat it.
And even today, like Castlevania is hard, but like I've played it so many times, like recently, that I can beat it in like an hour. I really love playing Castlevania. My last one is one we haven't mentioned yet, Adventure Island.
Whenever video games come out when we're over here, Adventure Island
I
appears.
love that game.
Did you ever play Adventure Island, Mike?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It's a Hudson game. Yeah, you run around and you get like hammers that you throw at things, and then there's a skateboard involved at some point that you'd never want, and it's very difficult. Honorable mention would be Ghosts and Goblins. That is a super hard game that is also, though, very fun.
Great game, too hard to make my list.
It's very hard.
Oh, yeah.
Hudson's
okay,
Adventure
so
Island
breaking
is
news.
hard,
Yeah,
too.
the Adventure Island. Yeah, like so you're like this shirtless boy running around.
With a mustache for some reason.
Quite tan.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Higgins, I believe, is his name.
I think you're right. All this was basically just to get to the point where I was going to say the Nintendo Entertainment System was launched in a test market in New York City on October 18th, 1985, 2 days after the episode we just watched aired.
Wow.
This was a totally redesigned from the Japanese Famicom, short for Family Computer, which was a top loader. The video game market, as we all know, tanked in 1983, so Nintendo did not want to market it as a video game console and called it an entertainment system. It was consciously designed to resemble a VCR, and that's the reason. This is one of the reasons that the Rob robot, the robotic operating buddy, fucking ridiculous thing that doesn't work at all.
It was
Good
terrible.
for one game.
Yeah, Gyromite.
And not even that. That game sucks.
And it came with the deluxe version of the game. It's to blur the line between video games and a toy. I highly recommend, whenever I was making out my 80s mural that I drew, I came across the Angry Video Game Nerd when I was looking up Rob designs. It's his 100 episode, and go watch the Angry Video Game Nerd. It's amazing. There was a second reason the NES was a front loader, and that was the little door. In a talk at the National Video Game Museum in Sheffield on Wednesday, I don't know why I put on Wednesday, Masayuki Umura, I apologize if I'm butchering that.
No, good
the
job.
former head of Nintendo R&D revealed that the company was concerned that dry weather in parts of North America could result in children accidentally causing the console to short circuit. Responding to a question from the audience about why Nintendo went with a front-loader design for the NES, he said, on the Famicom, the cartridge was directly connected to the hardware inside, so if you attach the video game cartridge to the actual device, there's static and charges, and this can result in a short circuit. Unlike in Japan, where it's humid, Texas, for example, in North America, is very dry. So it's likely that children, when they touch it, could cause a short, which is fucking interesting.
So you feed it in, and then by pushing it down,
Yeah, I guess it grounds it or something.
then it turns it on. So there's a
front loading prevents children from accidentally touching their hands to the devices, which is why it was developed.
Right.
The Zapper, the light gun, was created because Americans just like guns, and that's what he said.
That makes sense.
True story.
And you're getting ready to buy one, Ryan.
I am. I'm gonna go buy a shotgun soon.
So there you go.
The microphone function was removed for the NES. If any of you know, the Famicom second controller has a microphone for just a few games, a karaoke game that sold very poorly, and for Legend of Zelda, my favorite NES game. In the book, it says in order to kill Pole's voice, those little bouncing rabbit-looking things in the dungeons, you would scream into the microphone. It says Pole's voice hates loud noises, which is very confusing because that's not a function in the American game. But, you literally screamed into the controller to kill them while you're in the dungeon.
I like how that even made the translation, but I assume maybe by the time that was translated, they didn't know that they were going to take that feature away.
Probably not. It was a very early game. Anyway, that was just I just want to talk about the NES that premiered that week, and like I said, I think changed everything. Basically brought video games back.
So were any of you the rich kids that got the Super Deluxe set?
No.
Well, yeah, I didn't have is the Super Deluxe set the robot set?
Yeah, with Rob.
Did you have a robot
You get Rob
set?
and the Zapper.
Did you have a robot set, you Fortress Maximus having motherfucker?
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Saw Transformers
And
twice in the
actually,
theater.
So my Fortress Maximus story is that like the box, I thought it was a Nintendo. And it wasn't. So I actually didn't get an NES of my own until later. It was like 1988 or something like that.
Yeah.
That was probably
like
about
all
when
my
I got
friends,
it.
All my rich kid friends, they were the ones with the Nintendos. But yeah, I had I had a cousin who, you know, they were well to do, and yeah, so he got like the super deluxo one, and you know, it was interesting, like as the years would go by, how like the different Nintendo sets would scale down. You'd have like the action set or whatever else, but yeah, so he still has like the Rob Robot and the gray Zapper, the original one.
Yeah,
I just have a bunch of orange ones.
I have the gray Zapper, but it doesn't work, and it also doesn't work unless you're using a CRT television. Like,
correct,
you can't use it on a flat screen.
Guys, I have a couple new voice actors for
Hey.
new characters. Mind if I go into that?
Let's do it.
Ryan, I think you'll like this edition. New writer, Antoni Zalewski,
Boo.
is a British cartoon writer. He's good at writing crazy because his only 2 Transformers episodes are this one and Dark Awakening.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit! Wow.
I only write the fucked up ones.
Fucking nightmare fuel. Because I mean, again, the whole like, you know, methed out Red Alert.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that, we talked about this already. It's something that's very indelible about this episode.
He also wrote for He-Man, Challenge of the GoBots, Benedict Arnold there. It's a super powers team, whatever that is. Centurions, Potato Head Kids, Sky Commanders, G.I. Joe and Peter Pan and the Pirates. I couldn't find out much else about him in his bio, but hopefully this wasn't him. And in my Googlings, there was a man with the same name that was murdered in Georgia in 2017, but he was only 57, so I assume...
What?
That was...
Well, he had lived long enough, so it's fine.
There was also a 52-year-old machine operator from New Jersey who died in 2007 with the same name, and I don't think that was him
Somebody's
either,
rubbing out all the guys with that name.
because this is a British writer.
It's a real Sarah Connor situation.
I really just put this together to counter any potential belief that we just take everything from TF Wiki and rip off their research. But you know, we also Google. You fucks.
I do like to read about murders.
Yeah, John Lithgow.
John Lithgow's great.
Progresso soup. He's trying to take my job.
Do we need to discuss the unknown studio situation? Did you have that in script deviations?
I mean, is there
That
any,
was my script deviation.
is there anything at all interesting? I mean, is there anything more that we can uncover here?
The gist behind it all is you've got 2 main studios, ACOM and Toei. There were third parties that probably both of those companies would sometimes farm things out to. This is the first episode that is noted as an unknown studio. There's also going to be a Decepticon raider in King Arthur's Court, Make Tracks, The Secret of Omega Supreme, Kremzeek, and Triple Takeovers. There tends to be some of the major visual differences. They will say that some of these studios seem to have earlier animation models.
Yeah.
Although
Red Alert's colored differently.
Red Alert is colored differently, so if he's lighter in color, it's an unknown studio. His official color has more of a gray hue to it. They also called out cheekbones, and they've got higher cheekbones. And I kind of like the higher cheekbone look.
Somebody's got a type.
But they show Astro Train, and there's also some miscolorations. What we saw today with Grapple, he had a gray, if I remember
gray
correctly,
head, yeah.
a gray head with
orange.
yellow with little horns, little hornies. But that's not the official.
That's
look
the name of my
model.
video, Little Horny.
You've got gray head.
We'll call out. We'll call out whenever an unknown studio is involved. In season 3, Starscream's Ghost is called out, and Only Human. We've reviewed, and I'm sure we'll re-review for the sake of continuity, Call of the Primitives. A lot of people will attribute Call of the Primitives, which is the episode that all of the animal-based robots, the Dinobots, the Trypticons, the Terracons of the world, Skylinks, they have to team up, and they ultimately meet up and discover Unicron's creator. And Primacron.
Is that the one where Grimlock reverses polarities?
Yes, that is a reverse polarity episode.
Spoilers.
A lot of people would attribute that episode to a place called Studio Ox, which I don't even know that Studio Ox is an animation studio, but as far as I can tell, and Mike, you chime in if you've got more information. Studio Ox is they do really great Transformers illustrations. I feel like it was more of a publishing company that was somehow related to Transformers, and they just did some really great dynamic illustration work, and they had slightly different models or invented just new ways of looking at the Transformers. And so a lot of people believe that Studio Ox was behind Call of the Primitives. But according to new information that's come out in 2020,
breaking news,
really,
Call of the Primitives was a Toei production that had been They had subcontracted the work, at least in part, to a studio called Studio Look. And I don't know much about Studio Look other than it's a Japanese animation
studio. 2
studio.
sentences on TF Wiki.
Now that's a call.
Breaking news.
What is happening? What is happening?
But they worked on Akira, Robot Carnival, Space Robot Force, and confirmed. They also worked on Victory, so some of the Japanese content that came out.
Well, Call of the Primitives in particular has very dynamic, pointy animation.
It felt... once we get into season 3, I'm sure it will stand out. It stood out watching it when we did watch it in the context of the movie because it is so different than a lot of what we're watching.
I'm looking forward to / not looking forward to season 3 because the stories are so crazy and awesome. But ACOM is all over that shit, and it's just gonna bum me the fuck out.
See how it goes.
me and 50% of More Than Meets the Pod are all on board with that. I am. Me and More Than Meets the Pod we love ACOM.
It's toys, the Masterpiece MP14, Red Alert. There's a redeco that's more of an innovation model, but to Ryan's point earlier, it includes circuit trouble, is what it's called, earmuffs, to recreate his damaged state from this episode. There's also the Takara Masterpiece MP33 Inferno, and it includes an alternate chest plate that has clear posts that allows him to recreate that final scene where he's holding Red Alert and carrying him out of the rubble.
Great.
It has a whole
Sweet.
chest piece to allow you to do that scene.
Nice.
Transbot's hoist comes with the grappling accessories, like those Doc Ock style arms that you saw him use earlier.
That was weird.
So why don't we rate the scheme? Mike Seibert, rate it.
Well, first, I guess we would have to figure out what the hell the scheme is. It seems that it's no more complicated than the Decepticons want the NEGAVATOR. Presumably to negavate things.
Yeah, why do they want
whatever that is.
Are they successful in that? Not really.
It's a triple retreater.
Yeah, I mean this one's a solid number 2 for me.
Yeah. How do they even know what the fuck is happening at any time? How do they know the NEGAVATOR exists? How do they know to send Soundwave to this bunker?
Yeah, I don't even know what's going. Like, I was watching it, and I have a short attention span with this stuff as it is. But even me, I was like, I have a hard time remembering even what was going on in the episode.
Sometimes I look over and Caleb's just playing with a ball of string.
Yeah, meow, meow. So
now if there's like
weak.
a sub scheme, I guess of Starscream teaming up with Red Alert, I guess I could almost rate that separately. I give that like a 4.
It wasn't
maybe tops.
It wasn't a strong episode. It was just
there wasn't a lot
like
of scheming. The
no,
Autobots were in the middle. Well, the Autobots were scheming to create this NEGAVATOR.
See, there it is. They're the villains of this episode.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. True.
You heard it here first.
And they had, apparently whoever came up with that scheme, I guess it was Wheeljack, he overheard what the problems were with the last episodes. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell Prime we'll get the humans to guard it. And Prime was like, approved. Rubber stamp. They made the NEGAVATOR. All right. So, okay. We can.
I'm the ghost of the iconic moment.
You know. Our guest Mike should
Did I write anything down? Let's find out.
Well, I started off kind of predisposed, and it's so funny because like anytime I've referred to Red Alert's meth face, I've tried to avoid using the word iconic. I keep using indelible incorrectly. But yeah, so I mean, so that's really kind of like the iconic imagery of this episode is, Red Alert's meth fits. But I want to give strong honorable mention to Soundwave and the tapes there. One, you got the GIF moment with all the tapes flying out. And just that whole sequence with Soundwave and the tapes, that was a surprise. I didn't remember any of that going into it for first viewing. And again, that sequence rules. I am here for some top tier Soundwave and the tapes content. So I would give that an honorable mention. But again, the reason why I'm here is because of like the weird red tinge around Red Alert's eyes. That's something that it's imagery that's always stuck with me.
No scene was necessarily a standout to me, but just the idea of, for our generation, for me personally, it felt like this is a first exposure to mental illness.
Oh, God.
As a topic.
Yeah, true.
As a general topic. And that made it, I think I saw this episode maybe twice as a kid. I mean, I don't know, but that made an impression on me that there was something wrong with this guy that felt out of the norm for him, and he couldn't control it.
And his friends didn't really have a whole lot of sympathy for him.
I think
Red
Prime
Alert's
did.
gone insane.
Prime did. Prime wanted him to get help, but he also was respecting, I guess.
It was like, you're all fucked up.
He's like, you're more damaged than I thought.
Okay, maybe that wasn't as sympathetic.
That's a hard thing to say.
It was still the 80s.
Yeah, you're more damaged than I thought.
You guys get any?
I liked whenever Inferno
Ico
carried Red Alert out of the thing. That was nice.
That's iconic enough. They made the toy do that.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
No, I really don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Caleb's like, blah.
Yeah, in this case,
because we've been here so long.
It was a pretty flat episode for me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because there wasn't really a scheme.
Things got negavated, but then it's just like, what does that even mean?
Well, apparently they're just invisible.
No, they're
Fucking
not,
dummy.
Ryan.
It was just Ryan's opportunity to dig in.
Next time on the Autopod Decepticast.
Have mercy, because we're going to focus on Percy.
What?
I don't even know what the next episode is.
Is that cringy? It's a Perceptor episode.
I'm thirsty for Percy.
Mike, why don't you plug what you got going on?
Yeah, please.
Well, in typical APDC fashion, I plugged all my shit on the front end, but you can find me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at Mike Seibert Radio. The spelling on that is Seibert. And check out my interview with Word Burglar. We're talking about his crowdfunder for the Welcome to Cobra Island vinyl, which funded in 2 days. But it was still a really fun conversation with him. Revisiting that project. Also, check out the episode of Have Not Seen This. I was a guest on that podcast with host Rafe Telsch. It was his first time seeing Transformers the movie, and he has some interesting hot takes, and I have some interesting reactions to those hot takes. Actually, just to kind of like spoil it just a little bit. One of the I meant to mention this earlier, but in the last couple years, I've realized, even though as I've connected with more like-minded fans like yourselves and some of our other friends, I am on a weird island by myself of really liking the soundtrack and the music to Transformers the movie. And I've discovered that there's a lot of folks that don't.
I don't know
you guys
that you're
aren't
alone on
you guys
that.
aren't as hot on it. Our buddy Anthony Bracali from tfu.info, it's not necessarily his cup of tea either. And it's just weird. It feels like it's just me and Alpha Magnus that like kind of stand it to the end there. But
I mean, there are some songs I like for sure, but as a whole,
sure, of course.
It's nostalgia and irony.
Yeah, I guess I'm not really that into metal, but like I guess it's because I love that movie so much. But it's in particular the Stan Bush songs.
I like the Vince DiCola score.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't
Fair.
as
unironically
as a musician, or even not as a musician. There's nothing wrong with liking something because there's nothing.
Well, there's nothing wrong with liking anything.
So if you're
that's true.
if you're appreciating something from a nostalgic point of view versus whatever the opposite is of that, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, so you can
No
look
judgment
forward to
then.
that.
Thanks, David.
Have not seen this.
Thanks.
I will put it out on all of my social medias. You can listen to my podcast, Mike Seibert Radio, pretty much everywhere else you listen to Autopod Decepticast, and tune in to the After Hours live stream on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Monday nights, generally around 8 p.m. Pacific time, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. But that's been a ton of fun. And guys, it's always a pleasure jumping on with you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for being on our text feed.
You can't wait until season 3 to do it again. So throw out some more season 2.
We
We'll do it
only
again.
have like a year and a half more of season 2.
Yeah, throw out some more season 2 eppies.
And
They
we'll
can
do
be
more.
sooner than later. Don't be shy. For everybody else in the world, if you want to continue to support us, first of all, thanks for fucking listening.
Yeah.
And if you like what you hear, support
Are you Mario?
What are we doing?
It's a picnic a basket.
Wow, Mario to Yogi.
Yogi
Yeah,
Bear.
that's right.
Some merch through our APDC web store at autopoddecepticast.com. Check out the goods, or go to patreon.com/APodDcast. Other than that, please continue to listen to the show. The name of the show is Autopod Decepticast, which you can hear
Which you can Google and find us somewhere.
on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn.
5 stars, please.
This is the funniest part of the show, because if you're listening, you're already listening the way you're going to listen.
It's branding. Got to do it.
Yeah, don't think too much on it. If you pull at the thread, you're just going to say, well, this is the end of the episode, and we'll say, you know what? This was a good episode.
The
And
sweater,
until next time, make good choices.
the sweater is destroyed.
Wear a fucking mask.
Wear a mask,
Wash your
you
hands. Make
animals.
good choices. You know the usual.
Follow us on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all of them at APodDcast, and the previously mentioned web presence at autopoddecepticast.com. Pull the thread, qui bono, wear a mask, Ryan will say vote. I'm trying to cover off on anything else. Check out Mike Seibert, live streams Monday night. I think we're good here.
Happy birthday to me.
Fuck that. Bye.
Make good choices, I guess.
Bye.
Pistols are gone? Question mark? Do we not do that anymore? Okay.
This is a good episode.
Excellent.
Bro Cells is the sponsor of Autopod Decepticast. Yes.